Good morning, dear cadets. Today we are learning another application of the Pascal's law. Pascal's law of transmission of fluid pressure. Right? One of the applications, hydraulic lift, we have learned yesterday. Today we are learning hydraulic brakes, hydraulic brake system. All these four-wheelers, cars, trucks, buses, right? Especially cars, as well as even the two-wheelers are fitted with this hydraulic brake system. The hydraulic brake system again works on the principle of Pascal's law. The pressure exerted at any part of a closed fluid system is transmitted undiminished equally in all the directions according to Pascal's law. Let us see the diagram of this brake system. The hydraulic brake system consists of the hydraulic fluid, you see, that is called as brake oil. The brake oil is taken in a closed cylinder. There is a master cylinder. The master cylinder, it is provided with a piston. You can see the piston here. This piston rod, this is the piston rod. This piston rod is connected to the brake pedal with the help of lever system. You must have seen when a car is moving on the road, suddenly when the driver comes across a road hump, he applies the brakes with the foot. He applies the brakes with the right foot, and all the wheels of the car retard themselves, decelerate and come to stop. How is it happening? This is the brake pedal, you can see here, and this brake pedal lever is connected to piston rod. This is called master piston, and this cylinder is called master cylinder. This cylinder is filled with a brake oil. This is a special highly viscous oil, brake oil, and this oil, it is incompressible oil. This oil is contained in a pipeline, and this pipeline is connected to four different wheel cylinders. All the four wheels are being connected with this brake fluid, okay, with the help of pipeline, out of which I have taken only one wheel, structure of one wheel. So the brake oil is filled in this cylinder. Another end of the cylinder is inside the wheel. You can see here. This is the wheel, and in the interior part of the wheel, this is the inner rim of the wheel, and the interior part of this wheel is connected with this wheel cylinder. The same fluid runs through this wheel cylinder. This wheel cylinder is having two pistons, you can see here. So when the force is exerted, when the pressure is exerted here on this pedal, then what happens? This piston rod pushes this piston inwards. The piston is pushed inwards. When the piston is pushed inwards, what happens? There is a pressure exerted on the fluid, brake oil. This pressure is transmitted through the fluid, through the incompressible fluid. When this pressure is exerted, you see, this leads to force on the walls of this cylinder, on the walls of these pistons. So these pistons are pushed out. When these pistons are pushed out, you can see here, you see this piston is connected with this ring system with brake shoes. These are the brake shoes, and these brake shoes are pushed apart, and the vehicle is in motion now. When the vehicle is in motion, you see this wheel is in motion. This wheel is in motion. You see, this is the inner rim of the wheel. So when the brakes are applied, the pressure that is exerted due to this piston which is moved inside, this pressure is transmitted through this fluid, and this pressure exerts a force on both the cylinders at the same time. When the force is exerted on these pistons of the cylinders, the pistons are pushed out. the pistons are pushed down. As a result, these pistons rods are connected with this ring with a brake shoe. So these brake shoes are going to have a contact with this inner rim of the wheel. These inner rims of the wheel are provided with linings, brake linings. These are called as brake linings. So brake linings will be providing the proper friction, proper grip. These are called as brake liners of the wheel, of the inner wheel. So they will have a proper grip, and thus the wheel retards, the speed of the wheel decreases and comes to halt. This is how the hydraulic brake system works. And the same pipeline is connected to all the four wheels. This is just one wheel. Like that, opposite to that, on the other side there will be another wheel. So these are front wheels. In the same way, there will be hind wheels. So at the same time, the pressure that is exerted will be transmitted equally in all the directions, in all the four wheel cylinders. This is wheel cylinder. In all the four wheel cylinders, the pressure is transmitted on the piston rods. As a result, the brake shoes they move out, and these brake shoes they will have a proper grip on these brake liners, and they will be capable of coming in contact, and they will reduce the speed, and the wheel comes to halt. This is the application of Pascal's law. The advantage here is only small amount of force is applied by the driver. The entire car, which is of so heavy load, comes to halt. That is because of the force that is exerted here. Although it is a small amount of force is exerted with the help of our foot. The driver applies the force with the help of foot. This is called as foot pedal. So that pressure is transmitted in all the directions, and that pressure exerts force on these pistons, and these pistons usually will go for larger area, and thus they exert large amount of force on the moving wheels, and thus the moving wheels come to halt. This is the working of the hydraulic brake system. So hydraulic brake system also works on the principle of Pascal's law. Pascal's law of fluid pressure. Okay. Now next we are going to learn very important thing, that is flow. Until now we are discussing about the fluid at rest. So here it is an incompressible fluid which is at rest. When the pressure is exerted on an incompressible fluid at rest, then the pressure is transmitted equally in all the directions. That is the meaning of Pascal's law. Now we are going to discuss what happens when the fluid is in motion. When we start studying the fluid in motion and the properties of fluid in motion, types of fluid motion, it is called as fluid dynamics. Now we are going to learn about fluid dynamics. Fluid dynamics, as the term itself says, is the study of fluids, in motion. In the same way, the study of fluids at rest, we can call it as fluid statics. This is fluid dynamics. Earlier, whatever we have learned, Pascal's law and all, that is related to fluid statics. Fluid statics and fluid dynamics together, we term it as fluid mechanics. That's what we are learning. Mechanical properties of fluids. First, fluids at rest. Next, fluids in motion. When the fluids are in motion, that part of study we term it as fluid dynamics. Okay. So fluid dynamics is also a very interesting part. For example, when you turn on the tap, when you turn on the water tap, the water slowly starts flowing down. As long as the water is slowly flowing down, it appears as if it is a steady flow. constant flow will be seen. It's quite common experience. Whereas when you turn the tap completely, when you turn on the tap completely, the water flows with a high speed. But when the water flow is at low speed, it has a proper path which can be observed. It will have a permanent photograph. It will have a proper path. So that kind of flow which is continuous and steady, it is called as streamline flow. So we are learning different types of flows. The first one is streamline flow. Streamline flow, it is also called as steady flow. This steady flow is usually observed for the fluids when they are in slow motion, when they are having slow speeds. When fluids have low speeds, when fluids have low speeds, then we will be able to see the continuum of that flow. That continuum of flow appears to be steady. That is called as streamline flow. One more very good example is incense stick. When you ignite an incense stick, burn an incense stick, and observe the smoke, keep that incense stick, burning incense stick, in a corner where there is no disturbance of air. Then if you observe the smoke that is rising, the smoke that rises, you see, if this is a burning incense stick, the smoke rises continuously like this. Steady flow of the smoke will be seen until sudden height. This is quite common experience. In the barrack, in the anteroom, if you put one incense stick, burning incense stick, and observe, the smoke of the burning incense stick appears to be steady up to sudden height. Afterwards, when there is a disturbance, you will find the smoke getting dispersed in a different direction. Here it becomes disturbed. Flow will no more be steady. It will be unsteady. This is steady flow, and this is unsteady. Or it is also called as, another name is that if the speed is very high, then it is called as turbulent. Same way, when you turn on the tap, when the tap is turned on, you will find initially the water flowing very slowly and very steadily, and this it has got a particular pattern. So this particular pattern, when the flow is slow, is called as streamline flow, or it is also called as steady flow. When you turn on the tap completely when you turn on, then the flow will be of very high speed. This very high speed flow is not steady, it is unsteady, and it is further called as turbulent. So second type of flow is when the speed is very high. When the fluids have high speeds, then they lead to turbulence. Turbulent flow. High speed flow. Both the types of flows are very common experience for all of us. For example, you might have observed the flow of river. Usually in the winter season or in the rainy, not in the rainy season, usually in the winter season or in the summer season, flow of water in the river is almost like, it appears as if it is stagnant. But when you go and take a dip inside the water, then you will come to know there is a actual drag. The water will be dragging you along its direction of flow. So that is called as steady flow, right? If in between, if you find there is a rock, if there is a huge rock, then this steady flow of water surrounds that rock. When it surrounds that rock, around that rock, if you observe, you will find water whirls. Water whirls will be formed. Those water whirls which are formed, they are no more steady flow, they are causing turbulence. That's what we are calling it as turbulence flow. That is, when the flow of fluids or flow of liquids are usually slow, then they will lead to what is known as steady flow, and it has a particular map-like structure. So that's what we are learning as streamline flow. But when the flow becomes violent, in the sense, if the speed of the flow is very high, the speed of the flow, for example, very recently we have observed the floods in all parts of our North Karnataka, especially in Belgaum, even Bijapur districts, Bhima river, right, Krishna river, and even Tungabhadra river. All the rivers were overflowing, and when you observe that is a very violent flow of water. That violent flow of water is causing turbulence. It is called as turbulent flow. When the speeds of the flow are very high, then it is causing turbulence or turbulent flow. I think these examples are enough to understand the types of flow. So first we are learning what is known as streamline flow. Okay, what are the properties of fluids when it is having steady streamline flow? Okay. When the flow of fluid is slow, then it is called as steady flow. It will have a permanent pattern of flow. Let us see one particular diagram for studying the streamline flow. First of all, before we learn what is a streamline flow, we should know what is a steady flow. As I said earlier, in this streamline flow, the flow of fluid is said to be steady. If it is steady flow, then it is said to be steady if at any given point the velocity of each passing fluid particle remains constant in time. Here we are concentrating, we are focusing on the fluid particles which are following this. The fluid particles which are following this path. When the fluid particles are following, they will follow the same pattern as followed by the previous particle. We are focusing on the fluid particles which are in flow. Okay. So the flow is said to be steady if at any given point the velocity of each particle remains constant in time at that particular point. See, for example, I am considering 3 points. One is P, another is Q, another is, let us say, R. So velocity at P of all the particles coming over here will be same, but velocity may change from point to point. It may not remain same here. If you draw a tangent here, the tangent drawn in the direction of flow gives you direction of velocity at that point. That is what we call it as streamline flow, right? So when the same particle comes over here, its direction will be changing now. So velocity definitely changes. When it comes over here, you see there is a change in direction again. So this gives you velocity at R, VR. So when it comes over here, draw the tangent along the direction of flow, that gives you direction at that point. So the velocity of the fluid particle may change from one point to another point, but the particles which are following behind it, the fluid particles which are following behind it, they will have the same velocities as followed by the previous particles. So the next particles which are entering here at P will have the same velocity at P, will have the same velocity at R, will have the same velocity at Q. So it just appears like a map. It just the line appears like a map. That's why we call it as streamline flow. So first we should know what is steady flow. The flow of fluid is said to be steady if at any given point the velocity of each passing particle remains constant. But it doesn't mean that at all the points the velocity of the particles remains same. No. It may change from point to point. Velocity of different points in space is not same. Velocity of particles, velocity of fluid particles at different points in space is not same. The velocity may change from point to point as it moves from one point to another point. This is the main important thing about the steady flow. Then when you map out this particular line of the steady flow, then we call it as streamline. It is called as streamline. Now let us draw streamlines for a particular flow. Here I have drawn three different streamlines. Okay. So these streamlines are actually acting as the boundaries that is passing through a particular boundaries. Fluids are passing through a particular boundaries. So one streamline I have drawn in this particular way, another streamline almost a straight line, another streamline again curved, and it is ending like this. So one can draw as many number of streamlines as possible, but care should be taken. So first of all, what is streamline? First let us define what is streamline. Streamline is a curve. It is a curve such that the tangent drawn along the direction of a streamline is in the direction of velocity of that fluid particle. So that's how we define what is streamline. So take down the path taken by a fluid particle. What is the streamline? The path, like the PQ path or PRQ path, is an example of streamline. The path taken by the fluid particle in steady flow. In steady flow. As I said earlier, steady flow is possible only when the fluid is flowing with lower speeds. Okay. And it will be smooth flow. Streamline flow means it is a smooth flow. Steady flow means you can also say it is a smooth flow. So the path taken by the fluid particle in a steady flow is called as streamline flow. Now let us consider one particular streamline flow. Another example wherein I have drawn three streamlines. Whatever the number of streamlines that I have drawn at particular point P, same number of streamlines must be passing through another point R, and the same number of streamlines must be leaving out from the point Q. That's what we call it as streamline flow and steady flow. Here the velocity at P is termed as Vp and velocity at R is taken as Vr. Velocity at Q is taken as Vq. So here I have drawn perpendicular planes. P, R and Q are perpendicular planes. Perpendicular planes drawn to the streamlines, and when the fluid particles, when they follow this, they will always follow the same path as followed by these fluid particles which are already passed through, and the velocity of these particles when they enter P, for example, when they enter the plane P, velocity of all the particles will be Vp, right? and velocity of all the particles when they pass through the perpendicular plane r, all will be having velocity vr, and the velocity of the particles when they come out of, when they exit, move out from q, all will be having the same velocity vq. This is the feature of streamline flow. And note down that we are focusing on the path of these fluid particles. Always it will be smooth path, and it is drawn in such a manner that the tangent drawn at any point gives us the direction of the velocity at that point. So I am writing that definition also. The definition of another definition of streamline is that it is a curve. It is a curve the tangent drawn in the direction of flow shows the velocity of flow of fluid particles. Velocity of flow of fluid particles. So streamline is also defined as it's a curve such that the tangent drawn at any point, on that streamline in the direction of flow gives us the direction of velocity at that point. Okay. And one can draw as many number of streamlines as possible, but care should be taken. Care should be taken such that no two streamlines intersect each other at any particular point. So that is another important property. No two streamlines intersect at any point. So one more important point is no two streamlines can cross or intersect each other at any given point. For if they do so, an ongoing fluid particle can go either way and the flow would not be steady. The flow would become unsteady. No two streamlines intersect each other at any point as long as the flow is steady flow. If for example at any point if they intersect each other like this, then at this point you will be able to draw two tangents. Then the fluid particle has to go either way. The fluid particle, some particles may go in this way, some particles may go in this another way. So in that case what happens? The flow would no more be steady flow. The flow would no more be streamline flow. The flow would become unsteady flow. Okay, that is the meaning of streamline. Hence, in a steady flow, the map of flow is always stationary in time. When you take the photograph shows as if it is a map of flow of fluid particles in steady flow. So it will be forming like a map. Therefore, streamline is a permanent map of fluid flow. Now, one more very important thing to be understood here is that the mass of fluid that is entering, suppose I have drawn a container, a pipeline of this nature, and if I have drawn some 4 or 5 streamlines, care should be taken such that no two streamlines intersect each other at any point. If this is P and this is Q, and here I have taken R. One can draw as many number of streamlines as possible. Only thing is, care should be taken that no two streamlines intersect each other at any point, so that the flow is steady and streamline. Then one more very important thing, if delta m P P is the mass of fluid particles that is entering at P, then the delta m cube is the mass of fluid particles entering at certain same time delta q. The mass of fluid particles entering in time delta t is equal to mass of fluid particles that is leaving out the exit point q. So this is a very important thing in accordance with law of conservation of mass of fluid particles in steady flow. So I can write mass of fluid particles entering the P. I have taken an example of P. This is a pipeline where the fluid particles are entering here, right? And the fluid particles are leaving here. So the mass of fluid particles entering is equal to mass of fluid particles leaving at Q. And during their flow, if you have taken this plane, particular plane as R, even in this plane R, you see same number of fluid streamlines are entering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have taken same number of fluid streamlines. So since same number of fluid streamlines are passing, although they have different velocity, suppose Vp is the velocity of entry and Vq is the velocity of leaving. Vq is the velocity of leaving and Vr is the velocity of crossing. Vr is the velocity of crossing at R. Then we are going to get a very interesting equation. That is what we are going to learn in the next video. Law of continuity, equation of continuity. So the mass of fluid particles entering at P is equal to mass of fluid particles leaving at Q at the same time delta T. And even the mass of fluid particles crossing R at the same time delta T will also be same. This is in accordance with law of conservation of mass of fluid particles. So I write here law of conservation of fluid particles in flow. Law of conservation of fluid particles in flow, especially in streamline flow, right? So this is what we are going to learn as law of continuity. This is also called as law of continuity. So in the next video we will learn about law of continuity and equation of continuity in detail. Okay, thank you, have a nice day.